So before starting the Bhagavad-Gita verse, I would like to chant a little glorification of Bhagavad-Gita in 7 points. If one properly follows the instruction of Bhagavad-Gita, one can be freed from all the miseries of anxiety of life. One will be freed from all fears in this life, and one's next life will be spiritual. If one reads Bhagavad-Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, the reaction of his past misdeeds will not act upon him. Third point, one may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water, but if one takes the bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad-Gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. Fourth, because Bhagavad-Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one need not read any other Vedic literature. One need only attentively and regularly hear and read Bhagavad-Gita. In the present age, people are so absorbed in mundane activities that it is not possible for them to read all the Vedic literature. But this is not necessary. This one book, Bhagavad-Gita, will suffice because it is the essence of all Vedic literature, and especially because it is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Fifth, one who drinks the water of the Ganges attains salvation. So what to speak of one who drinks the nectar of Bhagavad-Gita? Bhagavad-Gita is the essential nectar of the Mahabharata, and it is spoken by Lord Krishna himself, the original Vishnu. Sixth, the Gita-Upanishad, Bhagavad-Gita, the essence of all the Upanishad, is just like a cow, and Lord Krishna, who is famous as a cowboy, is milking this cow. Arjuna is just like a calf, and learned scholars and pure devotees are to drink the nectarian milk of Bhagavad-Gita. 7, and last. Let there be one scripture only, one common scripture for the whole world, Bhagavad-Gita. Let there be one God for the whole world, Shri Krishna. Let there be only one hymn, one mantra, one prayer, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Nam, Hare Hare. The chanting of the Lord's name. Let there be one work only, the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So today we are on Bhagavad-Gita chapter 18, the perfection of renunciation, and we are reading verse 13. So I'll chant once and then you repeat after me each line. Panchetani Mahabhao Karani Nibodame Sankhye Kritante Proktani Siddhaye Sarva Karmanam Panchetani Mahabhao Karanani Nibodame Sankhye Kritante Proktani Siddhaye sarva kamanam. Is it possible to put it a little down? Like this? Yes. Okay. Panchetani mahabhao karanani nibodhame sankhye kritante proktani siddhaye sarva karmanam. So we'll do the word for word. You can also repeat. Pancha, 5. Etani, these. Mahabaho, O mighty armed one. Karanani, causes. Nibbodha, just understand. Me, for me. Sankhye, in the Vedanta. Krita ante, in the conclusion. Proktani, said. Siddhaye, for the perfection. Sarva, of all. Karmanam, activities. So translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. O mighty armed Arjun, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of these from me. So you can repeat. O mighty armed Arjun, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of these from me. Purport. A question may be raised that since any activity performed must have some reaction, how is it that the person in Krishna consciousness does not suffer or enjoy the reactions of work? The Lord is citing Vedanta philosophy to show how this is possible. He says that there are 5 causes for all activities, and for success in all activity, one should consider these 5 causes. Sankhya means the stalk of knowledge, and Vedanta is the final stalk of knowledge accepted by all leading acharyas. Even Sankaracharya accepts Vedanta Sutra as such. Therefore, such authority should be consulted. The ultimate control is invested in the Supersoul. As it is stated in the Bhagavad-Gita, Sarvasya Chaham Ridisa Nivista. He is engaging everyone in certain activities by reminding him of his past actions. And Krishna conscious acts done under his direction from within yield no reaction either in this life or in the life after death. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. I was born in the darkest region of ignorance, but with the transcendental torchlight of knowledge, my spiritual master has opened my eyes. I offer my humble obeisances at his lotus feet. So here we have a very interesting part of Bhagavad-Gita, Actually, the 18th chapter is a summary of the whole book. Everything Krishna has said already, and now is summarizing in this 18th chapter. So you have the essence of Bhagavad-Gita. And here we even have something more interesting. It is the essence of the Vedanta. Prabhupada in the purport says, the Vedanta is the final stalk of knowledge. That means the final branch of knowledge. And even Sankaracharya accepted. So Sankaracharya, we know his tendency as Mayavadi. He's attracted all the Mayavadis people. But he's a great Acharya. And the Vedanta Sutra is accepted by all class of Acharya. And here this final stalk of knowledge, this essence of knowledge, leading by the leading Acharya, this is Vedanta Sutra. So I looked a little to see Vedanta Sutra, how much Prabhupada is speaking about Vedanta Sutra, and I found Prabhupada is quoting mainly 3 verses from Vedanta Sutra. The first verse, Om Atato Brahma Jigyasa. This one Prabhupada is always quoting. Now, therefore, one should inquire into Brahman. So now means finally we have this human form. And this human form of life is very precious. We have gone through 8,400,000 species of life, and finally we have a human body. And this human body is the only one which can allow us to come in contact with God, which can allow us to reconnect with our source and to transcend the mode of nature and to develop our loving relationship with the Lord in the heart and eventually with Bhagavan in person. So this human form of life is precious, and the first verse of Vedanta Sutra is asking us to inquire, be inquisitive about the Brahman, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this form of life allows us to think and to ask proper questions and to become self-realized, to reconnect with the Supreme Lord in the heart. Then the second verse of Vedanta Sutra, Srila Prabhupada is very often quoting, is Om Janmadhyasya Yata. And this is also the first verse of Bhagavatam. And this is that Brahman, the Supreme Spirit, is he from whom the creation, sustenance and destruction of the manifested universe arises. That means the Lord is the source of everything. He is the source of creation, maintenance and destruction. That means he is the source of Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. He is the original personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. So that is the second verse. And the third verse Prabhupada often quote is 1.1.12, Om Ananda Maya Bhyasat. So this is about pleasure. Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasure. And by nature, the Supreme Lord is all blissful. And this is also a big difference between the Mayavadi and the Vaishnavas, because the Mayavadi, they want to merge in the light, to be free from all problems. They want to merge in the eternity. But in this process, they are committing spiritual suicide, because not only they get rid of false ego, but they also get rid of real ego. And they merge in the light and they become one with God, but there is no relationship, and so there is no Ananda. because this Ananda is a loving relationship between God and His devotees. And without this loving relationship, this Ananda is just a drop in the desert. A drop of water cannot satisfy one's thirst. In the same way, if you are merged in the light, there is not this loving relationship with God, and so you cannot taste the full nectar of relationship with the all blissful Lord. So Prabhupada is quoting these 3 verses of Vedanta Sutra, and you will see tomorrow, with the devotee who will give class tomorrow, that in the purport tomorrow you will have 2 more verses of Vedanta Sutra that will be commented by the next speaker. But in this verse, still, we speak of the 5 causes for all action. So last year in July, I gave a class, and coincidentally, or there is no coincidence, it's by Krishna's grace, I spoke on 5th chapter, verse 8 and 9. And in this verse, 5, 8, 9, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada was also speaking of the 5 factors of action. 5, 8, 9. 5 chapter, verse 8, 9. In the purport, a person in Krishna consciousness is pure in his existence, and consequently he has nothing to do with any work which depend upon 5 immediate and remote causes: the doer, the work, the situation, the endeavor, and fortune. So Prabhupada is quoting 5 reasons for action, and he's saying actually one who is working in Krishna consciousness has nothing to do. That means he's not depending on these 5 factors, because he's an instrument in the Lord's hand, and so he's not affected by time, place, circumstances. He's just acting for the Lord's pleasure. He's empowered by the Lord, and so he's not disturbed in any condition. So what I find interesting here is that these 5 causes that we find again in chapter 14 of, verse 14 of chapter 18, verse 14, we find again these 5 factors, but a little different. You see, the place of action, the body. So, in the previous verse, Prabhupada was saying the situation. He was saying the situation, and in verse 14 it says, Adhishtanam refers to the body. So it's more precise. Instead of the situation, it becomes the body. Then we had the doer. The doer, in this verse, karta, the performer. So that seems the same. Then we had the work. So the work, in this verse, we have nothing that is the work. So when I look closely, I was thinking probably the work means the various senses, because with the senses we can work. So Prabhupada is assimilated the senses with the work as instrument allowing the work. So the work, that could be kalanam, instrument, and then we have the endeavor, chesta, all kind of endeavor, this is the same, and we have fortune. So fortune, what is fortune? Who can say? Raise your hand.
Lucky.
Yeah, but in the verse of 14,
Super soul.
yes, super soul. What is your good name, Prabhu? Jaya Das. Jaya Das. So those who are participating in the class, I write their name, then I go to the deities, And I offer special prayers, and I ask special blessings for you if you participate in the class. I give a special prayer to the Lord so you can make it in this lifetime. So I will write your name on my little notebook because I really appreciate when devotees participate. So, Jaya Das. Jaya Das. So here, what Prabhupada called fortune in verse 8-9 of chapter 5, in the verse 14 is Devam. And Devam in this verse is ultimately the super soul, right? So the super soul means Krishna in the heart, who is personally taking care of the devotees, personally helping in the action, personally giving the result. And we should not be attached to that activity or that activity. We just do for Krishna's pleasure. And we should not be attached to that result or that result. We should just do for Krishna's pleasure. And that's the real sannyas. As Maharaj yesterday, His Holiness Vedavyas Priya Maharaj gave a class on this sannyas. How real sannyas is to be detached from action and to be detached from the result. This is Tyaga, renouncement of the fruit of the work, and sannyasi, renouncement to activities. So a devotee can do anything for Krishna. He's not attached to one kind over another, and he's not looking for the result. He knows the super soul is in charge and will give the result ultimately. So that is interesting to see that in these two verses, Prabhupada gave different translation for these different words. And we can understand that the devotee is not depending on these 5 causes. At the same time, he is aware. He is aware that he is not the controller, that there are 5 causes of action, and he is just an instrument in the Lord's hands to fulfill His desire, His mission, to do what He wants. Namaste. Kshadi Prabhu. So, I looked in the folio. Did Prabhupada give a class on this verse? No, he did not. But I was happy to see that he gave a class on the chapter 18. And it was funny for me to see that this class was given on Radhastami. Usually on Radhastami we speak of Chaitanya Charitamrita, verse 4, chapter 4, Adilila, or we speak of 10th canto. But Prabhupada it chose to speak on Bhagavad-Gita on Radhastami in London, 1973. And Prabhupada, in this class, he made a summary of the whole Krishna consciousness. So I will not go through all the class, but I've noted a few points that when Prabhupada introduced Krishna consciousness, he starts with Varnashram. The 4 ashram, the 4 Varna, how everyone should do his own duty and do it to please Krishna. And then he speaks of he defeats the Mayavadi who think they are Daridra Narayan. They all offer each other obeisances when actually we offer obeisances to Krishna in the heart, the real Narayan in everyone's heart. And Prabhupada is quoting many verses, and then he comes to Sankirtan. And he quotes verses about the glories of the holy name in this age of Kali. And I was thinking, what is the link between this duty, Varnashram, and finally the holy name? And I remember the discussion with Ramananda Roy and Lord Chaitanya. And Ramananda Roy rejected Varnashram. And when did he accept? He said, yes, that is okay. It's when Ramananda Roy quoted Bhagavatam 10.14.3. So I want to read one line of this verse. Stane stita shruti gatam tanuvan manubir. And this verse I will read to you. Those who, even while remaining situated in their established social position, so that is Varnashram, even while remaining situated in their established social position, throw away the process of speculative knowledge, and with their body, words, and mind, offer all respect to description of your personalities, activities, dedicating their life to these narrations, which are vibrated by you personally and by your pure devotees, certainly conquer your lordship, although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within the three worlds. So this is Bhagavatam 10.14.3, and this verse is very interesting because actually we see this is the bridge between Varnashram, doing your duty for Krishna, and dedicated your life to just chanting the holy name, studying the scripture, and preaching this holy scripture. And this verse actually, Lord Chaitanya was also preaching to Kurma in South India, Brahmana, because that Brahmana, he wanted to travel with Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya said, no, you stay home and you chant, you read, you absorb in Krishna consciousness, and at the same time you do your duty. So that is very comforting, in that in one sense we don't have to drop everything. If we have a family, if we have children, grandchildren, we can still be there of help for them, and at the same time absorb our mind in the holy name of the Lord, and absorb our time also in reading the Shastras and sharing with family members and friends and relatives and others around. So actually this is the program Namahat that Lord Chaitanya with his associates start. They would go in every town and village and they would ask people to chant the holy name. And they would have little gathering like this, and people would chant and would share the scripture. Even Lord Chaitanya would go to Gadadhar Pandit and sit and just hear from him reading the Bhagavatam. So in Kali Yuga, Lord Krishna has appeared as the Srimad Bhagavatam. Also the holy name, also the deities, but this Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna. And by hearing the Bhagavatam, we get purified, and by reading, not only we get purified, but everybody else gets purified, just like the holy name. So I find this very interesting, that is the verse when Lord Chaitanya finally said yes. He did not reject, he accepted that verse from Ramananda Roy, and from there started internal worship and Raganuga Bhakti and full absorption in Krishna consciousness. So that's the linking point. And the verse Prabhupada's quote about the holy name is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 11 canto, 532, 11.532, Krishna Varnam Dvisa Krishna Sango Pangastra Parsadam Yagye Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti Sumedasa. So Sumedasa, who knows? What does that mean? Sumedasa? Yeah?
Very auspicious, very...
Yeah, very intelligent.
Yeah, very intelligent.
Because Medavi, and girls are called Medavi, very intelligent. Sumedasa, very special, very intelligent. So those who are intelligent in this Kali Yuga, they perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of the Lord, who constantly sing the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. So who knows what are the weapons of Lord Chaitanya? What are his weapons?
The holy name. Yes.
The holy name, this is one weapon. Other weapons, Lord Chaitanya? Who knows? Chakra, no. Kali Yuga? No, that's a verse you should keep in a locket around your neck, but it's not the weapon of Lord Chaitanya. Yes? Krishna Prem, this is his gift, but it's not his weapon. So, weapon of Lord Chaitanya, holy name, Bhagavatam, this is second weapon, and third weapon is beauty. He comes as a golden avatar. He takes the complexion of Srimati Radharani, which is so beautiful, so sweet, so attractive that just by seeing Lord Chaitanya dancing, people become devotees. So his beauty is his weapon in Kali Yuga. He comes in the mood of Radharani with her complexion, and he comes with the holy name and with the Bhagavatam. And that's how he defeats all the demons. With the holy name, with his beauty, and with the Bhagavatam. And when sometime devotee would come to Prabhupada, oh Prabhupada, I've got one daughter, and one daughter, and one daughter. And devotees were feeling not so happy not to have sons. And Prabhupada said, don't worry, these daughters, they will defeat the Mayavadis. Because the Mayavadis, they are attracted by beauty. And a beautiful girl can say very strong words. They will not complain. So in Kali Yuga, these girls, they can defeat Mayavadis just by their beautiful complexion and devotional mood. And we have seen Janavi, who is chanting all around the world, how powerful she is. And my daughter also was there for 5 weeks, and I could see how attractive it is when a girl who is beautiful is Krishna conscious. She can attract so many people and she can preach to them. And it's very effective because they don't argue. Just like Mohini Murti, when she came, she could steal the nectar from the Asuras. Just with her charming complexion, they were just there, okay, whatever you want. And they would not fight and not complain. They just got bewildered. So this is a blessing. So this one verse, Krishna Varnam 11.532, and he quoted another verse, Prabhupada, in this lecture, 12.3.51.52, 12, Canto of Bhagavatam, chapter 3, verse 51-52. Kaler dosha nide rajan asti eko mahan gunan. Kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajet. So this verse is saying, my dear king, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of fault, there is one good quality about this age. Who knows? Yes, yes. So, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. So this is such a gift. And we remember Prabhupada in 66, 67 in New York City, his shop, much less gift. And this much less gift is the holy name. Because Prabhupada gave the holy name, and the holy name is a gift, is a much less gift in Kali Yuga. Because it can free you from bondage, and it can promote you to the spiritual world. So it's not so difficult. Prabhupada gave us the minimum 16 rounds. If we can sacrifice 2 hours a day to chant this holy name sincerely, seriously, that means by hearing honestly the holy name and taking shelter. Please, my Lord, please accept me. Please engage me in your service. Just crying like a child cries for his mother. We call the Lord sincerely, and by this cry, not only are we free from all sinful activities, but we are promoted to the spiritual world. That means it's the last lifetime. And Prabhupada promised us, if you follow the 4 principles, if you chant 64 rounds, you'll see Krishna face to face. He promised us, he has the backdoor key. And even though we are born in Mlechas and Yavanas family, if we simply surrender to Sri Guru's lotus feet and follow his order, we are assured to go back to the spiritual world in this very lifetime. So this is a great mercy upon all of us by Srila Prabhupada. He came to save us, he gave us the matchless gift, and we just have to accept, to receive that mercy and to be grateful. Oh Prabhupada, you have suffered so much to come to the West and give us this matchless gift. And now we want to take it as our heart and soul, and we want to share it around with everyone that is favorable, that is agreeable, that is ready to hear and to accept this transcendental gift. And he ended up his class by going back to Aritoshanam. So this is 1 to 13. So you remember he started from Varnashram Dharma, and he is ending also on this 1 to 13. Atak pumbir dvija shrestha varnashrama vibhagasha svanustitasya dharmasya samsiddhim aritoshanam. O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to caste division and orders of life is to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So whatever we do, we just do it for Krishna's pleasure, and our activities become transcendental. And whatever result we get, we offer to the Lord. And like this, we are the real sannyasi. We are renounced, we are detached, and we are pleasing the Lord. And Prabhupada ends us saying that we have to please Krishna through Srimati Radharani. And now he joined the Bhagavad-Gita to Radhastami, and he says, if you want to offer a flower to Krishna, you put it in Radharani's hand, because Radharani will accept and will give the flower to Krishna. So in the same way, we offer ourselves to Radharani's lotus feet. We take shelter of Sri Radha, and she will introduce us to Krishna. You know, Prabhupada says, please Radha, tell about me to your Krishna. Krishna is yours. So please Radharani, tell about me to your Krishna. So we see that here Prabhupada is begging Srimati Radharani, you are so dear to Krishna, you are the most beloved. If you recommend me, then I will be accepted by the Lord. So in the same way, if we want to serve Krishna, we go through the devotees, we go through the spiritual master, and the spiritual master is serving Srimati Radharani, and Radharani will accept us we are recommended by a line of devotees, gurus, parampara, up to Srimati Radharani, who is the most perfect devotees, and with her recommendation we can access Krishna's lotus feet. So I found that was very interesting how that class was done for Srimati Radharani's appearance day. And today, so we are in this 18th chapter, which is the perfection of renunciation. And we are in the first part, that is Karma Yoga. It's about action. We have seen the 5 factors of action. And the superiority of working in devotion over renunciation of work. Because sometimes people think renunciation means we don't do anything. But actually renunciation means we don't do material activities. We do only spiritual activities. And what is the difference between a material activity and a spiritual activity? A material activity is for our own pleasure, our own sense gratification. When a spiritual activity is for Krishna's pleasure. So whatever you do, if you do it for Krishna's pleasure, then it is spiritual. If you do it for your own enjoyment, then it's material. And when we do it for our own material enjoyment, we don't enjoy, really. There is an interesting verse in Bhagavad-Gita 5:22. Yei samspar saja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adiyantavanta kanteya na teshu ramate buddha. An intelligent person does not take part in the source of miseries which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. That means when we are looking for our pleasure, actually, we put ourselves in a situation where there will be miseries, because these activities have a beginning and an end. It is ephemerous. So it is temporary, and you cannot trust such activities. They give you a little pleasure at the beginning, and then nothing, then just suffering. So the wise man engages in activities that give real pleasure, ananda. And this real pleasure is when you please Krishna. We have many analogies in the Bhagavatam. Like if you want the flowers to blossom in a tree, you don't water the flowers, you don't water the leaves and the buds, but you go and water the trunk, the roots. Because by watering the roots, the whole trunk, branch, fruit, flowers, everything will benefit. And there is another analogy. Do you know the analogy about that same point? How to... the stomach. Do you know this analogy?
Hand in the stomach.
Can you tell the story?
In your stomach, the entire body gets
Yes. What is your good name? Tell me your good name.
Rajeshwari Mataji.
Rajeshwari Mataji. Yes, the analogy of the stomach. Rajeshwari. So this is a very important analogy, because when you are hungry, you don't give food to your eyes, to your nose, to your ears. When you are hungry, you have to give everything to the stomach. And the stomach will nourish the eyes, the ears, the nose, the hair, the hands, the legs. So in the same way, if we want to taste pleasure, if we want to relish ananda, we have to go to the root, and that's Krishna, because he's the reservoir of all pleasure, he's ananda, and by worshipping Krishna, if he is pleased, you will be pleased, and everybody else will be pleased. Like sometimes devotee says, how do I know if I please Krishna? But the result, when you please Krishna, you feel contented. You feel happy, you feel satisfied. And it's not just the pleasure of 5 minutes of an ice cream or 10 minutes of a beautiful sunset, but this ananda of pleasing the Lord is deep, deep in the heart, and it fulfills the soul. Because we are like fish outside water, trying to enjoy, trying to eat, trying to feel, trying to see. But the fish cannot be happy, just like our soul cannot be happy outside water. But when the fish is in the water, that means in connection with Krishna, then he can breathe again, he can eat, he can be happy, he can enjoy, he can have all his pleasure. So the constitutional position of the soul is to serve eternally in the spiritual world. And when we act in relation with Krishna, we awake our natural propensity to serve Krishna, and we revive our original constitutional position. I am servant of the Lord. And in that relationship, I can be eternally happy. I can find again my eternal service, my relationship with the Lord, in which mood I am serving the Lord. My desire are fulfilled 100% because I am connected again with my source, like a fish in the water, or like food going to the stomach, or like water going to the trunk. Then I can be happy, and I can help others also in Krishna consciousness. So this is very interesting. That's why Bhagavad-Gita is so important. So to conclude, I would like to share with you a little extract from Gita Mahatmya, because Gita Mahatmya is a teaching of Lord Shiva to his wife Parvati on the secret, the nectar of Bhagavad-Gita. Why is Bhagavad-Gita so important? And I ask you to be very careful, very attentive, because I will stop and I will ask you questions. So you hear attentively, and before answering, you give me your name, like Shudi Prabhu, and I write, and he gets special blessing. After class, I go to Radha Sunda, and I pray, my dear Lord, please bless him, he's so serious in his practice, and participate in Bhagavad-Gita so actively. So I pray for these devotees who are attentive and who are sharing, participating. So here is the story, the glories of the 18th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. Now kindly relate the glories of 18th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad-Gita. So, who is speaking and to whom?
Shiva is speaking to Parvati.
Louder?
Shiva is speaking to Parvati.
So three of you got it. So Shiva is speaking to Parvati. So very nice, you are hearing attentively. Shiva is speaking to Parvati. So we have Rajeshvari, we have Sita Thakurani, and we have, again louder, do you spell it? Leo A Lyorka K-A Lyorka. Okay? So, Lord Shiva said, O daughter of the Himalaya Parvati, please listen to the glories of the 18th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad-Gita, which is higher than the Vedas and the giver of unlimited bliss. So, what is the giver of unlimited bliss? 18th chapter. Your name, please? Louder?
Adi Dev.
Agni Dev.
Adi,
Adidev. Adidev, the 18th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. Listen carefully. When it enters into one's ears, it destroys all material desires. For the pure devotee, it is divine nectar. It is Lord Vishnu's very life. It is a solace to the hearts of Lord Indra and the demigods, as well as the great yogis headed by Sanat and Sananda. One who recites it sends the messenger of Yamaraj far away. There is no other recitation which can so quickly destroy all sin and free one from the threefold miseries of this world. Now listen with great devotion. So you raise your hand, you don't shout loud, you just raise your hand, and I will ask to answer. So here, one who recites this 18th chapter, he will send somebody away. Who? Yes?
Messengers of Yamaraj.
Yes, the servant of Yamaraj. How are they called, this one? The Yamaduta. So, those who are reading this 18th verse will send away the messenger of Yamaraj. There is no other recitation we can so quickly destroy all sin. It's destroying sinful activities. That means whatever you did in the past, finish. You are free, you have a free plate, you are free from karma. Okay, so Lorca, your name, Lorca. Okay, so on the topmost peak of Mount Meru is Amaravati, which was built by Vishvakarma. In that heavenly kingdom, Lord Indra and his wife Sachi are served by the demigods. So, where are we? Mount Meru, more precise? Amaravati. So who is there in Amaravati? Lord Indra and his wife. What is the name of his wife? Sachi. Okay, so that is Sita Thakurani. We have also Kshudi and we have also Jaya. Okay, yes, on Mount Meru, Amaravati, who built that city? So many news, so I can't write everybody there. Too easy question. Okay, so yes, Vishvakarma built that Amaravati. One day, while Lord Indra was sitting peacefully, he saw that a beautiful person had arrived there, whom the servants of Lord Vishnu were serving. Lord Indra saw the beautiful young person. He immediately fell from his throne to the ground. At that time, the demigods, who had been worshipping Indra, picked up Indra's crown and placed it on the head of the beautiful person. So, here, what's happening? Who can summarize what's going on? Prabhuji.
Vishnu Dutas came, and then there was a beautiful person with them, and they took a crown from Lord Indra and gave to that person.
Okay.
They crowned the other Indra.
A new beautiful person. We don't know who this is. Huh? We don't know. What is your good name?
Shyamanandini.
Shyamanandini. Okay, yes, the Vishnu Dutta came with a beautiful person and they were serving that person. Okay, and at that time the demigods, it's not the Vishnu Dutta, it's the demigods who put the crown on that beautiful person. Okay. Then all the demigods and other denizens of the heavenly planets started to perform arti and sing wonderful songs to the new King Indra. The great rishis came there and offered their blessing and chanted Vedic mantras, and the Gandharvas and Apsaras started to sing and dance joyfully. In this way, the new Indra, who had not performed the usual 100 horse sacrifices, started to enjoy hundreds of different types of services rendered by the demigods and other denizens of the heavenly planets. When the old Indra saw this, he became very surprised. So, you raise your hand if you want to share something about what we just read. What's happening now? What's happening, Narendra? You want to say? No? What is happening now?
New Indra is being installed.
A new Indra is installed?
Yes.
And what's happening?
The old Indra is on his way out.
It seems that even though it's not said,
He didn't perform the horse sacrifice.
he did not perform the 100 horse sacrifice, and what's going on there?
He's being worshipped by
Worshipped. The new Indra is being worshipped
He's being worshipped by
by the demigods.
demigods, what kind?
Denizens.
Denizens of heaven, Apsaras, Gandharvas, Rishis, your good name? Steve. Okay, so the Rishis, they are chanting the Vedic mantras, there is a big arti going on, the Apsaras, the heavenly, so a lot of devotees are participating, thank you very much. So, what's going on here? Indra is very surprised. He thought to himself, this person here has never built wells or dug kunds or planted trees for the welfare of others. And when there was drought, he did not provide grains in charity. He never performed any fire sacrifices or great charities in the holy places. How has he managed to attain my seat? Who is speaking?
Indra.
Indra. Indra is speaking himself. He is worried. So, the old Indra, feeling greatly disturbed in his mind, went to the ocean of milk to pray to Lord Vishnu. When he obtained the darshan of Lord Vishnu, he asked him, "My dear Lord Vishnu, in the past I performed many sacrifices and other pious activities for which I was installed as the Lord of Heaven. But now another person has come and taken my place as the King of Heaven. This person in his life never performed any great wonderful pious activities, nor had he performed any great Vedic sacrifices. How is it possible that he has obtained my throne?" So, who can say something? Mataji?
Indra is speaking unto Vishnu that this person has come and taken my place and he has never done any pious activities. Whereas
So he seems he's complaining.
Yeah.
Huh? He seems to be jealous or envious somewhere. Okay. He's attached to his position. Look what Lord Vishnu will say. "My dear Indra, that great soul has daily performed the recitation of the 18th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad-Gita. Every day during his life, he recited 5 shlokas of this chapter, and because of that activities, he has attained the results of all sorts of pious activities and yagyas, and after enjoying for many years as the King of Heaven, he will attain my personal abode. So, who can tell me something? Prabhuji?
He has done the pious activity of reciting the 18th chapter. Every day he did 5 shlokas. And the 18th chapter is so pious that just by doing this he gets the throne of Indra.
And not only he got the throne of Indra,
Then he will go to the abode of Krishna.
Vishnu
He will
himself.
go back to Godhead.
Godhead.
he will go back to Godhead. So, such a blessing for hearing the Srimad Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 18, and only 5 shlokas every day. It's not a big deal. So, listen carefully. If you perform the same activity of reciting the 18th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad-Gita, you can also attain my divine abode. After hearing Lord Vishnu's words, Lord Indra took the form of a Brahmana and went to the bank of the Godavari river, where he saw the town of Kalegrani, which is very sacred. At that place, the Supreme Lord, in his form known as Kaleshva, resides. So, what's happening now? Who is Kaleshva?
Supreme Lord.
Okay, the girls are more active. I would like that it moves a little on this side.
We need your blessing, that's why we're acting. Begging for your bless, for your mercy to go and pray to
The girls are more eager for prayers. The boys, they don't need prayers. So, who wants to share something now? I'm looking on this side. Do you have something to share about this? What's happening now?
Lord Indra took the form of a Brahmana and went on the bank of Godavari, where Kaleshwar,
Who is Kaleshva?
the Supreme Lord in the form of Kaleshwar, is situated
Yes, why is he going to the Godavari?
to recite the 18th.
Why he wants to recite this 18th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita?
Get similar results.
So that he gets,
The similar result to that
that is,
achieved by the
what is that result?
of achieving the supreme abode.
Yeah, he wants to go back to the spiritual world. Just by sitting down by the Godavari and reciting 5 chapters of this 18th chapter, imagine 5 shlokas. It's very small demands, from the Lord. Okay, Adidev. So, close to this town, on the bank of the Godavari river, a pure Brahmana was sitting who was very merciful and had understood the topmost goal and secret of the Vedic literatures. Daily he would sit at that spot and recite the shlokas of the 18th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad-Gita. When Lord Indra saw him, he became very happy. He immediately fell at his lotus feet and requested him to teach him the 18th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad-Gita. Lord Indra then practiced the recitation of the 18th chapter of this Srimad Bhagavad-Gita for some time, and he attained, what did he attain?
Supreme abode of
Yes. Where did he go?
Supreme Lord.
Vaikuntha Loka. Yes, he attained the supreme abode of the place of Vishnu Loka. When he attained that place, he realized that the pleasure he had enjoyed as King Indra, along with the demigods, was nothing in comparison. My dear Parvati, for this reason, the great sages especially chant the 18th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad-Gita, and by so doing very quickly attain the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Anyone who hears or studies the Gita Mahatmya very quickly destroys all sins which he has accumulated. And that person who remembers this discourse with great faith attains the result of all kinds of pious activities and great sacrifices. And after enjoying all worldly opulences, he attained the abode of Lord Vishnu. Thus end the glories of Srimad Bhagavad-Gita as spoken by Lord Shiva to his wife Parvati Devi. So this is the glories of the 18th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, and I am open if someone wants to share something about this story. If you have something to share, you please raise your hand. Comments, questions, everything is welcome.
So, the Indra, the person who was...
Can you tell me your name, Prabhuji?
Rancho
Rancho
Priyadas.
Priyadas. Yes?
So the person who was Indra, he in the same kalpa, he left his position as the Indra and went back to Vaikuntha. So another person took up his position. That happened?
Yes, that happened, what Mataji said before. That beautiful person came and was honored as Lord Indra, and he fell from his throne, and the Devas took the crown of Indra and put on that new person, and he went to the Godavari and he started reading Bhagavad-Gita, not only to get his position back as Lord Indra, but to go back to Vishnu Loka. He wanted to go back to the spiritual world. You understand? So he sacrificed, we could say. He did not fight. He surrendered. And he accepted that instruction to heart, instruction of Sri Guru to heart. And he followed that instruction, and in that way, he got free from material entanglement, from all his material desire, and he could go back to the spiritual abode. Understand?
Thank you so much for sharing this beautiful
Now
Hare
onwards
Krishna.
we start
Yeah, we
reading
will
5
start.
verses every day of 18th chapter.
Maharaj,
all
can
glories to you.
We have learned something today.
Hare Krishna. Any other
I have
questions?
a question.
Yeah?
Usually devotees, when they are serving Krishna, throughout their life, their desire or aim or goal is to go to Goloka Vrindavan, where Krishna is. But here when we recite the 18th chapter every day with faith and everything, we go to Vaikuntha, to Vishnu. So should that be our aim and goal?
So that's a personal question. You see, Lord Indra, he wanted to go to Vaikuntha. For him, that was the supreme goal, to be in Vishnu Loka with Lord Vishnu. Now, this is individual. Everyone has his own relationship with the Lord. In Sanskrit, we say Ishta Devata. Who is your God? Who is your worshipable God? Some worship Krishna, some worship Balaram, some worship Radharani. You have different rasa, you have different mood, you have different service. And as long as you get free from this material entanglement and go back to the spiritual world, you are safe. You are back to the spiritual world, you are back with God. So that's already one step. But according to one's desire, one will develop certain relationship. Prabhupada gave us this process of bhakti-yoga, and he placed us at the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami. We are Rupanugas. And by following Srila Rupa Goswami, we are trained as manjaris, as servants of Srimati Radharani. But some devotees, they feel more inclined as a Sakya, as a cowboy. And so they worship Krishna and Balaram in the field, and they have their deities of Krishna and Balaram, and they read especially from Bhagavatam all these leelas of Krishna and Balaram, and they are meditating on these leelas, and they are entering these leelas, and they find their eternal constitutional position in serving, in Sakya. So that's perfect. Everyone has his own perfection. And as long as we go back to the spiritual world, we are safe. I would say you don't have to take birth again in the material world, and you are again with the Lord. But according to your desire, you will develop different relationships. And you can also read Bhagavad-Gita in the mood of the gopis. You see, like, if you read the Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra, Sarvam Chamai Pashyati, the gopis, they see Krishna everywhere, in everything, in nature, in everyone. They only see the gopis. So you can read the verse with the eyes of Madhurya, or you can read with the eyes of Sakya or Vatsalya Ras, or you can read with the eyes of Shanta, if you want to be a flower, a tree, or a cow. So all these rasa are there, and they are all perfect, because everyone has his own eternal relationship with the Lord, and by absorbing ourselves in this mood, our natural tendency, we will develop that kind of relationship. It depends on our own meditation. I would say everything depends on the intention. You see, intention is the secret. If your intention is to restore your original constitutional position, you will be attracted to some verses and some books and some shlokas that will connect you in this kind of relationship with the Lord. And so Bhagavad-Gita has all the 5 moods. The 5 rasas are there. And by reading Bhagavad-Gita, you don't have to go back to Vishnu Loka. You can also go to Goloka. And you can also restore your original position in one of the 5 rasa that is fully satisfying your heart, your soul. So for Indra, the perfection was to go to Vishnu Loka, but for you, perfection might be different. And by this book is a wish-fulfilling book, you know. So by studying this book, you get all your wish fulfilled. And so every day, like Visheshika is emphasis, you know, just make a commitment and read a certain number of verses, and in 1 year you can finish Bhagavatam, or in 5 years, and depending on the amount of verse you can read. Because by reading these books, you know, you get cleansed of all sinful activities, and you restore your eternal relationship with the Lord, which is our heart aspiration. Because no relationship in this world can fulfill us 100%. Only when we are in touch with God, with absolute love, absolute perfection. He has all qualities in absolute, and He knows us perfectly. And when we please the Lord, then we feel fully satisfied. So this is the goal. Actually, whatever we do it to please the Lord and restore our relationship, revive. Whatever service we do, whatever study we do, when we chant, when we serve the devotees, whatever we do it as a cry. My Lord, please accept me. My Lord, please, I've turned my face for so long. Now I want to come back to your lotus feet. Please accept me. So this is, you understand, it's not that by reading we are condemned to go to Vishnu Loka. No.
Lord Chaitanya gives us that special mercy between Lord Chaitanya and Madhavendra Puri that we don't ordinarily get.
So, can you elaborate a little bit more?
Well, Lord Chaitanya is giving us this relationship with Krishna that isn't always available. Usually it's a Vishnu incarnation that comes in the Kali Yuga, but one time in 1,000, it's
And we are in a special period now, because it just came 500 years ago. And He is giving this most confidential rasa. He is bringing us to Radharani's lotus feet. Actually, Lord Chaitanya, because Krishna could not pay his debt to the gopis. He had a debt. And the gopis had given everything to him, and he could not repay them. So he came as Lord Chaitanya to take all of us to Radharani's lotus feet, to console us. Because she was in such desperate condition when Krishna left. So we are all Lord Chaitanya is attracting us all, and he's placing us at Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. And we can see in Prabhupada's class on Radhastami, 73 London, how actually Prabhupada is placing us at Radharani's lotus feet, because he knows if Radharani accepts us, she will recommend us to Krishna. And we will be restored in our original condition. So this is the greatest mercy. This period is especially auspicious because Prabhupada as Satyaveshavata has turned the world all around 14 times, and he has brought everybody into this mission of Lord Chaitanya at the lotus feet of Shri Radha. He has installed Radha Krishna all over the world, and he has engaged all of us in the Sankirtan mission. Distribute books. And this Sankirtan mission, Prabhupada said, it's like Ras Leela. We are bringing everyone to Krishna. We are distributing these books, we are chanting the holy name, and we are bringing everyone to the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya, to the lotus feet of Krishna. So this is definitely the mood of Goloka. We are engaged in this service of Lord Chaitanya, who is specially giving these three main rasa of Vatsalya, Sakya and Madhurya, and especially Madhurya. So if we surrender to Prabhupada, we are directly promoted to the highest place, where we will feel full satisfaction. Whatever position we get, that will fulfill our heart content. I see that Kavichandra Swami has come to the class. Maharaj, would you like to say something? Maharaj, would you like to share your heart on the 18th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita? You asked and yes, I'm sure you have many realizations on this verse. You want to add something, some comment? No? No one else? No other point, no other comments?
I just want to add the story that we just read about Lord Indra, and it's teaching us that we should not be attached to our position in this material world, because it can be lost anytime, and that will bring deep distress. Like Lord Indra was really distressed, and he went to the main ocean and all this, so it can happen. So lesson to learn is that we should not be attached to our position and post.
If someone comes and takes our position because they're better than us, but we go back to Godhead instead, we're still an even bigger winner. Not easy, right?
Yes, so this is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the teaching of Lord Chaitanya, actually, Sanatan Goswami, he asked, who am I? Who am I? In Lord Chaitanya, Jivarat Svarupai, Krishna Anityadas. So I am the eternal servant of the Lord. So this is the lesson, that whatever position we have, we just come in a humble mood and we are servant of the Vaishnava, and Maharaj is exemplified that behavior, hiding in a very humble mood behind the devotees and surrendering to just hearing the Bhagavad-Gita. So this is a wonderful example for all of us to just not identifying with the body, with the position, with the varna and ashram, and just serve the devotees to our heart content. And not only you will be satisfied, but Krishna will be pleased and everyone else will be pleased. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.